Hey guys, I'm at the historic Mount Holly Cemetery for the Tales from the Crypt. Let's walk around and see what we see.
And the cemetery has become the final resting place for all many notable Arkansans and has actually been considered the Westminster Abbey of Arkansas. And now buried here are 11 state governors, 14 Supreme State Justices, 4 Confederate soldiers, 22 Little Rock mayors, and many other physicians, doctors, writers, military heroes, and so much more. I see that we have a few guests with us for breakfast. Say hello, John.
Hello. Are we going to stroll around the woods after breakfast as always?
Yes, we will, but you shouldn't talk with your mouth full in front of guests. It's rude to do so.
You don't suppose they're here to ask about us, do you?
I believe we do need to introduce ourselves. My name is Charlie Mae Simon, and I'm a children's book author. Oh yeah, and this is our beautiful pet, one of many.
I don't think you can count a raccoon as a pet.
Of course you can. We feed him and take care of him just as we would a dog or a cat, so he counts as a pet.
Anyways, my name is John Gould Fletcher. I was born on the 3rd of January in 1886. I didn't do so well in Harvard to the point where I skipped my classes just to go to the library. I used polyphonic prose in my poems. Run to the Folklore Festival in 1935. I divorced twice and met my lovely wife here. After I died, I spent my afterlife with my wife.
Yes, it took me a while to find you as well, seeing as I went through 2 divorces. But we found our way together. And now, in my afterlife, I can spend it with my loved ones, including my cat.
Don't forget about our raccoon here. Speaking of forgetting things.
Yes. We still feed him every day. Now, it's time to tell about myself, isn't it? I came into this world on August 17th, 1897. I lived a humble childhood here in Arkansas, and I was able to enjoy the hard work. I and my past husband had some disagreements about it, but that's in the past. Despite all that, he's still illustrating my books. Speaking of books, I was able to meet John here because we both admired each other's works. The way he uses his words is just, oh dear, won't you read us one?
Are you sure now's the right time?
Yes, I'm sure we'd all love to hear one, right?
Okay, fine. I grumble over life, I grumble over meat, I carp at everything, for I find grumbling sweet. Like a pinch of salt, to me is bitter strife. It gives, if nothing else, a fiery thirst for life. You think it were to squabble, what else would you have life be? 'Tis either endless struggle or endless misery. I grumble over life, for my nature is to grumble. I do not feel at all happy in being humble. And as for those who think me silly so to do, I laugh at them again, and then they grumble too.
Marvelous. It has to be pure talent to turn something such as grumbling into such a meaningful poem. Oh my, it seems I've gotten quite off track again. And look at the time. I'm sure you soldiers have your duties to worry about, so we'll finish up our story quick.
Yes, as for us, we still need to feed the raccoon as well.
So, where was I? We met. Yes. We got married on January 18th, 1936. We stayed together continuing our careers until, well, he passed. I didn't know if I could go on, but I'm strong. I managed and I was able to travel the globe. I even went to Japan to teach English at the Women's University in Tokyo. I published many wonderful books and I won the Albert Schweitzer Book Prize for Seed Shall Serve. I accomplished a lot.
Yes, you have. We've heard from the new souls that join us here that she got the Children's Literature Award in Arkansas named after her passing, of course.
The Charlie Mae Simon Award. Anyway, after my travels, when it was my time, I came back here and died a natural and peaceful death. It was sure a surprise to see dear John again.
Yes, and that's how we're here now. We must not keep you any longer. We wouldn't want to be the cause of you missing your paroles now.
Our poor raccoon. How can we go without feeding him? We must be getting along now, and you should too.
Sally, come over here. People kind of hear about our lives and such. Hello, folks. My name is Sanford Faulkner, but you can call me Sandy. Sally, stop your crying and get over here.
I'm coming, Johnny. Just give me a second to get myself together.
Okay, honey. I am sorry for her. As I was saying, I was born March 3rd, 1803 in Scott County, Kentucky. I was a famous planter, writer, musician, politician, artillery officer. My daddy, Nicholas Faulkner, and my mama, Sally Faulkner, were swell people. They taught me to be the man I am. Was. After we were living in Kentucky for a while, my family moved down to Arkansas, where we owned 2 big farms down in Chico County.
What kind of farms were they, Daddy?
Oh, Sally, thanks for finally showing up.
What kind of farms were they, Daddy?
Cotton.
Cotton farms or
cotton plantations.
That's right. Your parents own 2 giant cotton plantations. Who did all the work at those cotton plantations?
Sally.
Slaves! That's right. Your mama and daddy. My grandma and grandpapa own the largest number of slaves west of the Mississippi River. Isn't that crazy?
Times are different. Things have changed. Lots of things seen as okay then aren't seen as okay now.
Oh, because something being socially acceptable and normal at the time makes it okay?
I didn't say that.
Well, you implied it.
And all, you can't act all innocent. The money we made from those plantations is what made you the woman you are. The most rich, most desirable, most beautiful woman in the county. The belle of Arkansas. The dresses you loved and the reputation you wore wasn't just magically handed to you. I worked hard for what you had.
Worked hard.
And all I'll ever get in return is ungratefulness. You could have had it all, but you decided to marry yourself off to a bunch of loser men.
I only married 3 men. My first husband had nothing to offer me, so of course that didn't last. My second husband, Philip Trapp, was great. He was handsome and very rich. And well, it's not my fault that he happened to mysteriously die 5 years into our marriage, leaving me all his money and property.
Ooh.
And don't ask me why his will was not written in his handwriting and looked awfully similar to mine, because I don't know. I tried to settle with my third husband, Henry Brown, knowing that all he could offer me was a trip to New Orleans with my friends. Of course, that marriage didn't last. But none of those marriages ended because of me. I'm a victim. And what did you expect me to do? Live with you, a failed politician and one-hit wonder musician for the rest of my life?
I don't appreciate the way you're talking to me, young lady. And I ain't never hit no musician. I was a successful writer and musician, though.
You had one successful story song.
The Arkansas Traveler? It tells the tale of a traveler who comes across the land of Arkansas.
Home of beautiful nature and good old rednecks.
The traveler gets lost in the mountains. Comes across a man playing the good old fiddle on a porch. Hopes he can give him a place to stay for the night. Sadly, the man and the woman only had one spot available.
And then the man who'd never been to Arkansas came and finished the song on the fiddle that the guy who lived in Arkansas was stuck trying to finish, and then he was allowed to sleep in the bed. The end, good story.
You don't spoil the whole story.
You was talking too slow like an old man.
I ain't no old man.
I don't know. You are pretty old. You died at the ripe age of 71 or something from a fever. So sad and pathetic.
Don't act like your death wasn't just as pathetic. You spent your last days on the streets, begging for food and money. You was once beautiful, rich, and dignified. Now look at you, forever poor and hungry. And you only got one good leg. Did you fill out that old buggy? You're lucky you made it to 54, considering how reckless you are.
Why have you always been so mean to me? I ain't ever done nothing to you. I am. Or I was a person, I wasn't just some dumb materialistic gold digger like you think. I had dreams, goals, hopes, and ambitions, and well, it wasn't as easy for me to do what I wanted in life because I had no rights. I was stuck, I'm sorry I never made you proud.
Me too.
Salutations! My name is David O. Dodd. I was barely 17 at the time of my execution. Why was I executed at such a young age? Well, when the Union took Little Rock in 1863, they began destroying our tobacco farms. My father, who was a tobacco farmer, was concerned about losing business. So, he decided to buy and store some tobacco to sell after the Confederacy won and gained independence. However, we didn't have enough money. So, he decided to send me to Little Rock with some business letters to his associate who lived there. I agreed as I saw an opportunity for adventure. I packed up the letters with my notebook and birth certificate and set off for Little Rock. Once I arrived, I delivered the documents and stayed with a lovely young lady named Mary Dodge. I really did wish to marry her someday. Anyways, where was I? Yes, that's right. Right before I left, I stopped at the Provost Marshal's office at St. John's College in order to get a pass back across Union lines. While I was there, the college chancellor actually took a liking to me and offered me a scholarship. However, once my duties were finished, I needed to return to my family. As I was crossing the border, my pass was torn up by a guard who proclaimed I no longer needed it, for I was in free land. As it was late December, the journey was quite difficult, so I stopped at my Uncle Washington's cabin just outside of Little Rock. The next morning, I ate breakfast and said my goodbyes and continued my trek. Somewhere along the way, I decided I decided to take a shortcut and managed to get myself back across Union lines. And worse yet, without a pass. When I was captured and searched, all they found on me was my notebook and birth certificate. And in my notebook was written information about Union troops in Arkansas in Morse code. Once they deciphered it, they convicted me of espionage and sentenced me to hang. I didn't want to die. I couldn't die. I didn't even get to see my family before I died. I wrote to my mother and my sister. I told them how much love I had for them and how I longed to see my sister grow old. No parent should have to bury their child. But on a cold morning in January of 1864, I was hanged. I don't remember much. All I really remember was dangling there, dangling for what felt like an eternity. Every time I tried to breathe, it burnt like 1,000 embers. My eyes felt like a balloon about to pop. Memory was flooded with every detail of my lifetime. I thought of my mother and my father and my sister. Thought of everything that I had wished to have done someday. I had a scholarship at St. John's College, which was now useless, where I was to die. Maybe by some chance I would survive and be let to live. But fate was far too difficult to resist, and I eventually embraced death with all that was left of me. Maybe as I grew older, I would realize the flawed thinking of the rebellion. Maybe I would see that I was on a bandwagon that was futile and fueled by rage and anger. Maybe I wouldn't change my mind at all. But now we'll never know, where I'm stuck here, where my life was cut short and my potential was buried with me. Thank you.
Everyone in Scottsboro, Alabama will tell you that my sister was a beautiful girl. Through the attention she was receiving from boys in our wealthy family, her mind was molded into wanting more. Annie Skelton yearned to see the world. So when she was invited to live in Days Gap, Alabama, she had no hesitation. We don't know much of her time there, but we know she had relations with a man named J.C. Musgrove, and when she returned to us, she was reckless and unstable. In this unstable state, Annie Skelton met a man named Robert C. Ross. When our family noticed this inappropriate relationship, Mother sent her to live with me, to Venia Kirby, in Little Rock, Arkansas. Annie was missing for 6 days before she arrived to me, and while this was extremely concerning, she assured me that nothing was wrong. Now she was still receiving letters, and when my husband mistakenly found one, I couldn't keep myself from reading.
Dove, have you seen my letters?
Annie, Mother is ill. You shouldn't be concerned about silly pieces of paper. Now pack your essentials and go.
Dove, those are important. I need those.
Why, Annie? So you can run off with some married man?
You read my letters? My God, Dove, what did you see?
I saw of his little scheme to divorce his wife, take you away. He said you were together for 6 whole days. Is that where you were before you got here? Well, we were all thinking you were dead. You were off gallivanting with a disloyal scum. My God, Annie, his descriptions of your activities make me want to never look at your lips again.
Please, Dove, he loves me. This is all I've ever wanted.
Your relationship with Robert is not okay. I've sent the letters to our brothers, and soon this will all be taken care of.
Dove, what do you mean? Dove! I did know Robert was a married man, but I thought nothing of it since he told me of his scheme to leave his wife and marry me. I kept Robert a secret from my family, knowing that they would not support our involvement with each other. But I mean, Robert was a man of the world. He was all I ever wanted. He even invited me to go to Chicago with him before my departure to Little Rock. Knowing that my brothers are planning to kill the love of my life is haunting me, and I'm praying I can show them some sort of reason to spare him. But what is your object in swearing you will kill Mr. Ross when you know that he is not the one that wronged me? If you want to kill the man that ruined me, then kill J.C. Musgrove, and I will send you the letter to justify you in so doing. After sending this letter to my brothers, I knew the only hope of keeping Robert safe was to warn him in person. So I met him in Memphis, where I told him everything.
Now Annie had once again disappeared. She was supposed to return home, but we hadn't heard from her in days. After his meeting with Annie, Robert set off to Georgia, but soon returned to Scottsboro due to his wife's pregnancy. 3 of our 4 brothers, Tot, Jim, and Bob, along with our cousin John Skelton, now set their sights on the death of Robert C. Ross. Ross had gathered his own men for protection, but this was no use. He was shot once originally, and after 5 minutes of suffering, Robert C. Ross was shot twice, once by John Skelton and again by Bob Skelton. Annie heard of her lover's death through the paper.
Why have my brothers brought such a shame to our family? They've killed my one true love and my soul.
She felt dangerously ill in her distress. I retrieved her, transferred her to Miss Mary's private hospital, and after regaining her health in April, she returned to Scottsboro, where she found peace with John Freeman, who had been a loyal consort. While our brothers faced their battle against the law, Annie and John married and moved off to Texas. Although Annie Skelton had found peace, our family's legacy will never be the same. And thus ends my story of a girl who wanted to see the world.
Attention, everyone. Thank you all for coming to our 10th wedding anniversary. We hope you enjoy.
This is a day Harry and I will never forget. We hope you all enjoy the celebration as much as we do.
Let's just take a moment to admire how beautiful you are.
Aw, thank you.
You want to tell the folks the story of how we met?
Great idea. Let's do it.
On my visit to Kentucky, I instantly fell in love with Susan. That led me to purchasing her freedom. I'd have to say, out of all the things I've managed to purchase, your freedom has to be the best.
I'm truly honored you do such a thing for me. I can't thank you enough.
After I purchased Susan's freedom, we moved back to Little Rock.
I was overjoyed to move to Little Rock. I was a little nervous because it was going to be a big change, but I was ready to start my new life of freedom.
This journey back to Little Rock would be a challenge for the both of us. I had to find ways to provide for my family.
Before my husband purchased my freedom, I didn't get a chance to learn how to read or write. My slave master would have an issue if his slaves knew how to read or write.
Fortunately, I was able to read and write. That helped my family out a whole lot.
As a slave, I would spend time in the fields picking cotton sun up to sundown. I remember people getting severely beaten because we didn't meet the weight requirements. Lord, I am so thankful you brought me away.
You all right, Susan?
I'm fine.
Me and Susan's life was totally different. I'm mulatto, so that means I was treated different. Black people treated me as if I didn't belong, and white people just treated me bad.
When we moved to Arkansas, life wasn't exactly easy. Harry had to find a way to support us.
To provide for my family, I was a sexton at Mount Holly Cemetery. I was over all the funerals, and I had to know where each body was placed.
As Harry would be over all the funerals, I would do the housework, cooking, cleaning. I also enjoyed cooking for the people who would have picnics with their deceased family members.
Not only was I a sexton at Mount Holly Cemetery, I was also a pastor. I enjoyed preaching to my congregation and also my wife.
I loved hearing Harry preach. As a pastor wife, I also had some duties. I had to help Harry with his sermons and help around the church whenever I needed.
Preaching every Sunday brought me so much joy.
I also want to thank you all for welcoming me to Arkansas.
Yes, I truly appreciate each and every one of you for welcoming my wife Susan to Arkansas.
Your hard work paid off for me.
It did. I love you so much.
I love you too.
Happy 10th wedding anniversary.